Recording has started. This is Echoes of New Eden, E1, After Dark. Because it's late.
Are we gonna sing the intro though, since we don't have the intro? Like, do we?
No, we're not gonna. No, I'm not gonna sing.
Oh,
Nah, sorry. I don't want to kill everybody's ears tonight. Um, it's like singing the words to the Star Trek theme song. It's just sacrilegious. So, that,
oh, you said don't. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. Don't. Anyway. All right, we'll wait just a few seconds to get some more folks in here. It'll probably be a light show in terms of normal attendance. We've been going anywhere from, 50, somewhere around the 50 range, on and off on our Sunday shows. When we have them in the EU time zone, it could be a little bit more. Even the nighttime U.S. time zones on the weekends is 30 to 50, somewhere in there, ranging over the course of the show. And then of course tonight, out of the blue, it's 7:30 Pacific Standard Time, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, and in Baltimore it's 8:51. So it's later than normal, and it's a Tuesday night. So there is that. Oh, and I've got the screen recording the wrong goddamn thing. Here we go. Let's go back to on-air chat.
Hi.
Now I can see the on-air chat. There we go. Yes, definitely after hours. Keep the live chat running. And we'll get into it. It's Echoes of New Eden. Taylor Rick, OC Can't Stop. We got a lot to talk about tonight, actually. A lot of kind of big, impactful things to talk about tonight. So first and foremost, we should probably discuss the tourney. Let's just stop that and get that out of the way. So there's the tourney going on. It's a Corp Clash event. If you didn't know, it's basically just a Corp Clash event. Does somebody have the current win-loss brackets of who's fought where? Because there's some weird shenanigans going on with that that really kind of pissed me off. And OC, you can probably, I know you said you're not going to speak to it too much. You're obviously your corporation's in the competition. Silence got a couple of, the Fed anyway, has a couple of corps that are in the competition. UEE and NILF are the two that are still in it. But surprise, surprise, if someone can pull that up and post it in the on-air chat, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I got you.
Trog lost in the first round. Trog is out. So that's a shocker. There we go. Thank you, OC. So the thing about this, what I'm getting at, in terms of these brackets that's weird is, let's just start from the upper left and work our way across. In the upper left-hand corner, we had FMCN versus DS3L. I know who DS3L is. I have no idea who FMCN is off the top of my head. There's a lot of alphabet soup on this fucking bracket, though. But if you notice, DS3L won, but look what's next to them. It's not DS3L fighting THD, who beat Spy right below them. Instead, it's THD facing off against OC, who's on the other side of the freaking bracket.
Completely random, as they had said.
Completely random. The quarterfinals
Just
are
like the
completely
selections.
random. Yeah, just like the selections. The quarterfinals are it's the quarter quell is what it is. It's just the Hunger Games all over again.
Right.
We're just randomly throwing shit at you left and right.
Very random.
I have no idea why they did this. This is the dumbest. And then look at the third place fight. Like, explain to me where this third place fight comes from. Does the third place fight come from the losers of the semifinals, basically? That's not how you rank a third place fight, is it? I don't. I
well,
feel
they're
like
not.
no. I feel like no.
These are all supposed to be equal fights, right? Meaning these are all the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they're supposed to just be matching them up, quote, randomly.
Right.
Oh,
So. Yeah, I know. It's that's weird. That's not how bracketing like this works. But I guess let's just randomize it some more. I suppose. I don't know. Very strange. Very, very strange. So, first the winner, yeah. Second is finals loser. Yeah, and third is the other two semifinals outing it. Yeah, I get that, but it's kind of, yeah. I don't know. That's not how I would have done it. But that's okay. Who am I? I'm just Taylor Rick. I'm a nobody. How else do you pick a third place? There's no prizes for third place. There's no prizes for third place. Everybody in this competition gets a participation trophy, by the way.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. Well, okay, but before we shit on the participation trophies so much, there are. Don't know, but seriously, the tiers and rewards are huge, right? Like that first tier, corp standing 1 mil. That's nice, but it's a week if you're a serious corp.
It's a
right?
week.
Like,
It's
okay.
less than a week. Yeah, yeah.
The participation award, the medals, they're not going to sell for much. Once you hit fourth place and up, though, it's like 100 bill, then like 300 bill, and then if you look at last place in terms of what you probably could sell some of that stuff for,
Yeah.
definitely over 500 bill, maybe a trill, depending on what people pay, right? Because these, for folks that don't know, the rewards out of these things for the special boxes, they're ships that you cannot get in game, you cannot craft, and their IP value is fixed. And it's a box that trades. Yeah, thank you for posting that, Dara. It's a box that's tradable and comes with the nano.
You can craft a loose end, but I get the other
No, no,
parts.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. No, the boxes is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
the boxes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the medals are nice, I suppose. Yeah, I was kind of joking about there's no prize for third place. Obviously, there's gold, silver, and bronze in the real world. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's a tournament. It's elimination. You don't get to the final round. You don't win anything. Is my. But yeah, obviously, there's fourth place corporation. So that's the loser of the loser round. You know, I mean. Exactly. There you go. That's what you get for not placing first or second. You tried. But anyway, maybe I'm just harsh. I grew up in a different era, I guess. I don't know exactly. If you're not first, you're last. I really like. And I don't mean it to be like harsh. I don't mean it to be like negative about anything. I just mean like you either win or you lose. You know what I mean?
I think
Like,
what's weird for me is like I would care more. I think it would have more value if it were not 16 people and it seemed like it was somewhat arbitrary how they picked. Like for me, it's like it's not. It's nice that we got an invite, but I don't think it really made sense. I don't think winning an indie competition, aside from being like, well,
yeah.
they're an active corp. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
means you're
exactly.
actively organized, but
Exactly.
it's not clear that would translate to doing well in PvP.
You
That's not
get exactly.
intuitive.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna go through and pick a corpse randomly for a PvP tournament, and our number one criteria is how much shit they can build.
Yeah, I don't. The thing I don't get is like, even if you were gonna do that and say, hey, these corps are active, let's give them a shot. I can't understand a system that didn't send an invite to X and CRB. Like, wouldn't you? You would want to see the best people in the game. You know what I'm saying? You would want to see like a battle of titans. The other thing too is, I don't know if folks know this, but for this contest, when you go to set up the match, you're not allowed to customize the request. All you're doing is sending an invite based on time, and you're deciding what the notification visibility looks like. You can't restrict the ship class.
And the first person who sends the invite for time is the one who sets the time. Because if you decline it, you're forfeiting. So what some of these corporations are doing, especially the Alphabet Soup guys, is they're setting the times at like 10 UTC.
Yeah.
So that their opponents are fucking asleep or have to wake up super early. Thanks, guys.
I mean that seems to be probably the most Eve Echoes part of this tournament. I would say is the time aspect.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's you don't get a choice to it. It's timer tanking even in a sponsored tournament by Met Sleaze. I love it. So
Apparently, the rules for the next one will be different. But what they also did too was if you participated, I think you had to be someone on the roster who was in a round. You couldn't just like not show up or whatever. They sent out surveys. I haven't looked at mine yet, but so hopefully they'll listen. I don't know why they didn't just do a fee and let the ladder round start with like the top 100 active corps in each time zone. You know what I mean? Like select things right then when you apply to be in it. Like, hey, I'll fight during these times, and then when it goes in, that's it, right? I don't even know why you'd start with only 16.
yeah, you kind of need a broader grouping in my mind. Start with 32, double that, right? But look, in all the bullshitting and shitting aside and being upset about it, I'm not really that upset about it. I think it's good though. I think they're doing it. Right?
Yeah.
They're doing
Exactly.
it.
That's
So
probably the biggest thing is they're doing this, they're trying, and they
yeah,
said they're going to adjust the rules next time. So
exactly. Now how
For Netties, the bar is low, so that's a good thing, right?
now
Like,
how long is it until we do this again, though? Is my question, because we had a Science C Cup already, and that was what, 2 years ago?
that was a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah, I was 16 back then. I mean, that's how long ago it was. I mean, it was
uh,
just forever. So, when's the next tournament going to be? Is it going to be in April? Is it going to be February? And if they do the next tournament again, is it going to have to come with this tagline of you have to place in the latest event, in the top whatever, in the late exactly after Titans, and then like 30, then there'll be 30 people with 30 Titans on grid. Um, so
yeah, I hope they change that because like supers. It's the thing too, man. Like, why are supers allowed in that? And I say that even if I had 30 supers, which I don't, right? Like that, who wants to watch 30 supers versus 30 supers? That's not to me. That's not interesting at all. Like if you have the discipline in your group to be able to hot drop 30 supers at a moment's notice, and you have a system worked out, like that might be impressive. Us has no supers. We actually live in Providence. We actually don't even have any capitals. We actually fight purely with magnets, but that would be impressive. But 30 supers in like a prearranged thing, that's stupid.
we all know that's sarcasm. We all know that's a lie. We see the kill mills and the lost mails. We know you have at least a couple of
Dude,
supers. We know you have
I
some
haven't
capitals. So
Taylor, I have explained this repeatedly. Every Pravi kill mill you see was the super or the cap got finished, and we sent it immediately to be destroyed per our
exactly,
policy.
exactly per your policy. Yep. They have to be destroyed.
Red supers.
it's only
Is that lofty, bro?
it's only one. You've actually only got one super, right? And you just pass it around to multiple guys.
Yeah.
so totally fake everybody out. You have no idea. So
One super.
he rents them from Kraken. No, Kraken
That,
doesn't have any supers.
no, we actually rent all of our Black Ops capitals that are outside of Providence. Those all are rented from Bradric. He's actually the number one PVE indie supplier that we have in Providence. Externally.
Bradric is. Oh Lord. There's a joke in there somewhere about his long paragraphs and now his inability to do indie because of the current update from today. Like there's a joke in there somewhere. I have to think about it, but it's there.
Bradric coin win.
Oh God. Well, only if he goes over and plays Eve Frontier. So we're done talking about the tourney. I think that's enough of the BS of the tourney. Let's move into another thing I was going to want to talk about tonight, which was Eve Frontier, and only because, and I was just going to say a really brief thing for it. You could have a Bradric coin in Eve Frontier because it's all based off of crypto, right? You could have your own token, your own coin. That has a thing coming up here in a couple of days for their next iteration of it. So just be watching for that on the 5th, and that's all I'm going to say about eFrontier. So anyway, I'm not allowed to say anything about the damn thing. So, but yeah, I would love to have Taylor tokens. That'd be great. That would be great. So.
Do we call them TTs or titties?
Yep, TTs. Or what we could do? We could just move care bucks from Eve Echoes right on over to Eve Frontier and just use all of our care bucks over there, which is going to be.
You'd be federating the federation.
We're going to have to do. We still use them. We still CBWG is still living long and proud. It's just not on the map, so it's kind of a shadow conspiracy now that secretly runs the underlying economy of the Fed. But no, it's still there. Carebucks is still there. Our armory is still there, and maybe it's something that others should really consider either using or having a system like that on their own, because of the changes that are coming. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the patch notes. The patch notes, that there's two things in there that are going to have a massive impact on the game, and the first one is if you're new to a corporation. Yeah, exactly. You cannot use corporation missions or the corporation market for the first 30 days. Now, unless you really understand the mechanics of this game and how the economy really works in game between players, between corporations, between alliances, you don't fully understand how good and or bad that is, because this has implications both for Yeah, this has massive implications for Equinox 2.0. I'll get into that later. But all the muling that everybody does. So I mean, just simple, like if you want to sell something to somebody, you can put it in a contract. They can pay you in a contract, and you have the 8% fees, right? So it costs you 8% on top of whatever the if it's tin bill, then it's 8% of that 8 mil. There's your taxes. In a contract, where you get around that is you just take one of your mules or a specific tune that is only there to move money around between corporations. You just put the money on him, and you would typically do that not even via a contract, so you don't lose the money on the taxes. You would go into your corporation and you would post up a mission to give ISK to the corporation, and then the tune you wanted to put the money on would put up a corporation to take money from the corporation, and someone in admin, someone in your your CEO or whoever else who's controlling funds in your corp would approve and deny or whatever, so that you basically move money from one tune to another inside the same corp without having to pay any taxes. We do this like umpteen times a day in Big. I mean, it's just, we have it literally fintech tickets, and there's anywhere from 5 to 20 open at any given time with people moving money around between their tunes, right? Or to another player to pay for things, or between our carebuck system. It's not a full, well, ask Darez, he's in the chat here. It's not a full-time job, but Darez does it every day for us. We have a few other guys that help him too, but it's a lot. It's a lot, yeah. It is a lot. So it is a full-time job for Dar. Yeah, with as many of us as there is in the corp at this point, yeah, it's getting to be a lot. So that's going to go away though, because it's not going to go away in terms of you trading in between your alts inside of the same corp. You can still do that because both of them have been there for over 30 days. But what you would normally do is put money on that mule. He would drop corp, go over to another corp, a 24-hour wait time. They get in 24 hours later, and then you'd post a mission up to give the money to the corp, and the corp could give that money from the other player in that corp to pay him. That's how you did all that. That's how you transferred ISK in a 24-hour period with no taxes. And when you're doing something like, I don't know, paying for a super to be built or paying for a VAC to be built, we're talking about hundreds of billions, trillions of ISK. And the tax on that is no longer trivial. It's no longer trivial. So, yeah, that's gone because now you've got a 30-day wait on it.
I mean, the big takeaway from a lot of these changes, I think, is what they're doing is they're raising the walls for commerce between corps intentionally because it coincides with their goal of having larger corps. It's a way to kind of be a little harder on the merge. First we had Corp Tech, and that was a little more carrot. Yep. Right? We have this alliance patch coming up. That's a lot more stake. It's pretty much, it's 100% stake is really what it is. And then you have this.
How much of that on the alliance chain? And see, I think there's the second piece of this conversation, because obviously this has implications for RMT. People moving money around on the RMT side. That's not going to be conducive. 30 days is a long time in this game. 30 days is a fucking lifetime.
Daraz, I'm not really sure what you're saying bullshit to, by the way. I don't know what you're calling bullshit on.
I mean, I agree, Daraz. This is a way to harden RMT. This is a way to it's not corp walls. Yeah, it's about RMT. Well, no,
I think you're assuming that those things are two different things, and they're not, by the way.
Yeah, no, they're not. It's lazy fixes for RMT. Okay, so let's have that discussion before we get into, because there's two major things. This is just, well, there's really one major thing. There's a huge major change coming to alliances and how they work, and the standings and everything else. That's going to hit us by February is kind of what it looks like. I was told 3 months by Cloud, and I have an idea of what these changes look like, but I don't know what they are for certain because they're not written in stone, and I don't know how much of that we really want to discuss tonight, OC. But those major changes that are coming, This little thing here, it's one little line or two sentences basically in the patch, is just the first step towards what that ultimate goal is, which is to make make it harder for large organizations to form and control too many regions.
Right.
And
Increasing the overhead every week.
they have a lot of data on this, not just from our server. They have a lot of data on it from our server, but they have a ton of data on it from the Chinese server. Because if you don't realize what's going on the Chinese server, it's an entire blue donut. There is no conflict. It's all one giant blob, the entire map. So there's no conflict over there. They're all glued to one another. All there is just some basic PvP happening every once in a while, and a lot of crabbing. For what purpose, other than just I have this thing now? I don't know. I have no idea why you'd want to play that game. I would not play this game if if the entire map was blue. There's no way. I just that sounds like hell.
But think about how much fun you could have in HiSec, though.
Oh God, yes. I could AI rat in HiSec with Rambo. No, thank you. So, no offense, Rambo. Kinda, maybe not, sorta. But
That's a check to see if he watches the episode right there.
right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll see if he listens. But no, they have a lot of data on that, and I think this is part of the yes, I'll be nice. I'll be nice, which is also Benzi's name to NetEase. Remember that? That was hilarious. That's what made him quit. That was so good. That made him quit. They couldn't get his name right.
Wait, he quit because they fucked up his name?
That's when he got super salty and decided I'm done and quit. Was when in that anniversary thing when they put his name up there, they spelled
right.
spelled it Be Nice instead of Benzi.
That's funny. All I know is I was watching live the moment he lost his mod privileges, and that has to be one of the funniest things I've seen in this game. That was just watching like the build up as you could like watch him unraveling. And the fucking microsecond he was like, you know what? And he like adds some mod. He's like, just take my mod perms away. And it's like before the period in that sentence hit, he had lost his mod perms. They were like, no problem, obliged.
Obliged, yep. Gojira says, I feel the majority of the player base want this game to be a PvE game. And Bradric replies, the entire community suffers from sandy vag.
Oh. Be sure to put that in the bookmark for the video.
Yeah, we need to have that. Yes.
It's just in.
We all suffer from sandy vag. I tell you what. Bunch of crabs, yep. So... yeah. Oh, damn, Jane. That looks horrible. That looks painful. Anyway, what was I saying? Off the Benzi remarks. We were talking about the changes. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't think there's a need to get into too much of what some of those possible alliance changes are going to be because we just don't know. We just don't know for sure what those are going to be. But if they're even half of what they're proposing, it's going to be draconian. And it's less than just lazy coding to try to break up the RMT. It's a multi-step thing to try to.
I was about to say this is not a one thing, right? I mean, what's true about that is like they do have limited like labor capacity, right? Like we know they don't have like a huge staff, but
right.
Realistic. Well, so hold up, Bradric. When you say break up RMT and you're like that's confusing. That's not because like they don't like RMT. It's because of what that creates, right? I.e., it's like less conflict. That it takes money out of their pockets in some cases, right? So I don't think it's them being noble, you know.
No, it's not that they don't. I don't think. Well, I don't think RMT is looked upon. Well, I know this for a fact in the Chinese community, in the Chinese player base, even in the Chinese business economy. They don't look at RMT as a bad thing. They look at RMT as a way of life, normal way of running business. Right. It's just part of the thing. They know though that they can't let it be a complete runaway shit show though because of how the impact it has on the overall game experience itself, especially on the international side of things, on the international server. So they can't just let it go unchecked. I think that would be Yeah, no, the Chinese do not see it as a bad thing, Bradric. No, they've said that several times. They don't understand why, like the Silent Fed, for instance, has such a harsh stance on the RMT side of things. They don't understand why we have that position. They don't get that at all. It's totally, yeah. I don't know what analogy to give. I guess it's like saying, hey, I'm from the northern hemisphere and I don't understand why people in the southern hemisphere see water flush backwards in their bowls. Like, that's strange. Like, it's that kind of thing. Visible confusion, exactly. So anyway, so no, they're not like trying to break it to where it can't be done at all. They're just trying to curb it in a way to where it doesn't cause runaway issues for them. But I think the second part of it, which is the bigger piece, and that's maybe only 30% of the reason, or maybe 20% in my mind anyway. My opinion is that maybe only 20 or 30% of the reason that they're doing this is based on RMT. The other 70-80% of the reason they're doing this is because they really want to have more conflict in the game. They really want to force people to have more conflict in the game. They don't want to have large groups being able to dominate and control other, entire, multiple regions, if you will. And they want to see more conflict because on their end, and they're correct with this theory, yeah, the more conflict that's created, the more money people will spend, whether that's in-game currency or real currency. Either way, causes them to make more money. They make more money when the server's at war. They do, because people throw money at it. So that's their biggest reason for the change. Just this one, even, let alone the ones that are coming down the pipe, which will be very, very interesting to see how that impacts things. But at the same time, though, it does impact, normal day players, normal pilots' ability in their own little economies, corporation to corporation, inside of one alliance. It does cause some headaches. It does cause some headaches. So how much do you think that's going to impact how Pravi operates? In terms of your dues, in terms of taxes or anything you guys have or handle, is all that already just handled via contracts anyway?
Each group operates a little bit differently because we don't actually have coalition taxes. I mean, we have other stuff that we do to compensate for that, but so from a coalition liquidity standpoint, zero impact because the way we handle it isn't affected by this at all.
Right.
The bigger it's funny because what's driving this, like you said, is that blue donut, that financial impact of the Chinese server, and that's what's coming here. But the bigger impact it's going to have here is far more than just economic. The first most thing is going to be the social impact because, man, merging alliances is something you can do that without triggering people, but like corp mergers are going to be something that is a natural part of this, and that is substantially more difficult to do than merging alliances because it's far more emotional for people, right? Like, it's easy to still retain some of your identity and your culture if you have a separate corp chat, separate wallet, that kind of stuff. But if you have to start sharing wallets and hangers and it's the same corp chat, same VoIP, that if I'm honest, the money side of it is the secondary concern for me. It's the social side, and that concerns me more because when people feel like they lose their family, sometimes they don't want to work at it. They just throw the towel and they quit.
Yep.
And to be honest, where I think the laziness comes in for me, or the perceived laziness, is not that they're doing this to quickly fix RMT, because I don't think that's the approach. What bothers me is that there's not enough carrot, right? Like, corps should have multiple wallets. There should be a way via corp tech to get multiple hangers. If you could have 4 wallets, if you could have divisions, if you could have more than 10 roles, and this and that and the other thing, I think a lot of corps today, I think a lot more people would be willing to merge because they could say, well, when I merge in, our goal is to become one corp. But for today, we're going to give that a second. We're going to operate as 2 corps in one, and we'll work at that every week. Whereas today, right now, it's a cold swap over. And yeah. No, I'm not saying Pravi is broke chained. What I'm saying is that's an ideological difference. That's really what that comes down to, right? It's not that people aren't willing. There's lots of people willing to pay money, but it's just not. It just operates differently. Also, you got to remember too, Pravi is a very different size than most coalitions, right? Like we're, the core probably they've all been there for 4 years. It's a lot more personal, right? So very
Yeah.
very different than the other coalitions that are like 5 times their size, right? So
Well, and there's a lot of corps that have been around since the beginning that are 4 years old that don't want to merge with some other corp and don't necessarily want to have some other corp be forced to be merged into them.
right.
So it's that's going to be interesting for people to have that conversation about if that's going to work or not. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I think just from an econ standpoint, I've always said the larger the corporation, the better, as long as it's ran properly. Just having a large corp for the sake of having a large corp means absolutely nothing. I can think of Starfleet Academy that was in Providence. It probably still is in Providence, but the original
It
CEO of
was.
yeah, the original CEO of Starfleet Academy had auto accept on, and it was basically just him and his couple of alts, and everybody else was just people that just randomly joined because oh cool Starfleet Academy, and he was just sucking tax money off of them, and that was not a corp. That's how that corp
Right.
started. I don't know if it's like that still. I have no idea what's going on with those guys, but I just recall that was kind of the way he did things. And you got corps like that, but you've also got corps that are ran very, very well with a good group of leadership that consistently, try to build their own community in the corp, and they don't want to get that upset by having somebody else shoved on them either. So it's tough. And then you got corporations that have fought tooth and nail. They have special banners and medals and waited a year and a half to get them, but they didn't win the Corp Tech race. So now they
Yeah.
lose all that. All that
Well,
goes
I
bye
think
bye somehow just because.
so. I think too. Like, I mean, I don't know. If I had to look at a silver lining to this, is I think what you're going to see is we enter at least a new phase in 2025 where leadership becomes a lot more. The conversations around planning about like the corp roadmap becomes a lot more intentional, right? And I,
Yeah.
I don't. I understand the memes about Pravi, but Pravi is not the only place that has a lot of corps that
I guess
are,
to
you know,
I guess we have to at least mention, or at least I have to mention, the little tiny sliver that I know about these alliance changes to make some of the rest of this conversation make sense. Otherwise, people are listening to this that don't have a clue what's coming down the pipeline aren't going to understand the impact that today's patch has, let alone what's coming. And I'll just lay it out. The brief little bit that I know. Sometime between now and February, the way alliances are formed and the standings you can have for those alliances will change. And the few little things I know will be that an alliance can only have 20 corporations. Anything
no,
above
you could have
that,
more.
anything
You could
above
have more.
that,
You just pay through the
you
nose.
pay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anything above that, you pay through the nose to the tunes of billions of ISK per week when you go over 20. I don't know what the max is, but it's like it's such a huge amount that no one's going to want to do it. The second thing that's going to happen is that alliances can only have three other alliances blue. So
I
that's
mean,
that's going
on
to
paper,
change.
right? Like, I
Maybe
mean,
I don't
that's
know. Yeah, so maybe that changed. Maybe that doesn't. I don't know. But there's a number. There's a number that they're trying to cap the total number of blues. Whether you pay for those, each one of those or not, is in question. If you're going to set a corporation blue instead of an alliance, you pay for that. So now you're paying for standings. So they're looking at putting some sort of cap on how big an alliance can be, how many blues an alliance can have, and you're going to be paying the nose for all of it. Each one of those things is pay per week in billions. So that's what they're looking to do. So if you take what happened today with the corporation market emissions now being a 30 plus day thing, no new bros can do it. So now you can't move money around as easy. And then you look at the blue standings and what that looks like. You can clearly see they're trying to push people towards using the corp tech, sinking that ISK, sinking that time, sinking those materials into it, making a larger corporation, and smaller alliances. Yeah, the corp sizes need to be increased. As of right now, the max corporation you can have in this game is 400, and that's if you have corp tech maxed out all the way through level 7 epic. That's it.
I think that you're to talk to about what Shane said there. I think what's going to happen is by the time Corp Tech reaches its full maturity, you probably will have the effect of Corps being able to have 1,000 people or more on roster. I mean, this is when Corp Tech, you know what I mean? We're talking over the next 2 years.
I think that's too many.
Maybe even
I
more.
think that's too many.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying
Yeah.
in response to what he said about unlimited Corp Tech, I mean, 1,000 people in a game the size of Echoes, that is basically unlimited. Because if you
Yeah.
figure that you could
Yeah.
just put indie alts that don't matter in another corp, and all you need is your ratters and whatever in one corp and your cap pilots, that is functionally infinite. Because, I mean, with 3 corps, you could have like, how many active players do we really have, right? So,
Well, exactly, Gojira. You just won't have them set blue, right? You can still go and fly with whoever, with whatever deal, and you're forming up your fleets. You know ahead of time who to shoot, who not to shoot. Your FCs know who to shoot. They call out who to shoot, so you can
the
still
way to
do
think about
that.
it is it's not an absolute ban on things. Like to your
No,
point, it's
no,
about overhead. What they're doing. So what definitely is happening is yes, you can still power through and do it. Just like listen with the 3 alliances, if you want to sit there and come up with some irrational amount of ISK to sink every week, you can, but it's still an overhead increase.
right.
So at the end of the day, like that's really what it's about.
Yep, yep,
LOL Bradric is the answer to that. LO fucking L.
yep.
That good luck.
That's the thing they're trying to address with it. Is the alphabet soup situation. Yep. So,
I love that that's your name for them, by the way. That's fucking hilarious.
Yep.
I've never heard that one before.
Oh, JD came up with that years ago.
Oh, yeah?
A long time ago. But yeah, that's yep. I won't take credit for that. That's a JD thing, but it's good. It's perfect. It fits. So yeah, something like that. Rebel. I don't know. I doubt they break up. They just have agreements. Like it does. Like it doesn't. That's the thing. Like this even with this corporation missions and market thing, it doesn't really change anything. Life goes
Yeah, I
on.
mean, it just depends on what you're. Yeah, what are you
just have
willing to do? That's really.
You just have you just have to do things a little different, or you have a cost associated with it. Otherwise, it doesn't. How's it going? No trouble. Yep, there's a podcast right now.
I like that him saying that is on the podcast now.
Yep, I do. I do things when I can do things, and it's God knows when. So, yep, it is what it is. Coming to you live from a hotel in Portland, Oregon. So, thanks for joining.
Mobile game, mobile podcast.
Mobile game, mobile podcast. Yeah, I literally take the mic. I was just before we even started this. I take the mic and all the others. I was telling OC. I take it all around with me on the laptop and everything. So, yep.
Can't go 1 minute over.
Paying by the hour for the hotel. Yes. It's 8 minutes. It's $8 per gig in this hotel room. So that's why there's no video. Yeah, that was weird last week. Right at the end of the show, all of a sudden I had unstable internet. I have no idea what was going on. Been on air for 38 minutes and counting. So I would say we're like 90% of the way through. Yeah, I guess we don't. I don't know. We'll see how this impacts. It doesn't really. It changes how people are going to be operating, but it doesn't really change the underlying operations itself. You're still going to have to trade. You're still going to have to buy things. Paying for a super might just be more expensive at this point, or just take you longer to do. 7 days is how long. See, they'll probably change that too. Right now, if you join a corp, you have 7 days until you can put something into the wallet and then leave. So if you just have a mule that you weren't using for anything else and you're just paying for a super, then you just get strategic about that and you go and put that mule in there as someone starting that build, which has, 12 days, 15 days, 21 days, depending upon whether you're using donuts or not. And there you go. 7-day deposit limit quietly becomes 30.
Just from building a super standpoint, the impact here is actually minimal.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because there's 2 ways you're reducing cost on a super. One is less components, which isn't impacted by this because the final cook P is 5 bill ISK, and that's nothing, right?
Yeah.
Versus like the other thing with building the components, it's much easier to get lower component cost in a corp because that's chips and a lower corp tech than it is to get lower total components because you have to invest more. That involves two separate techs versus like one.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you're in a corp that doesn't have all of that, and the corp two systems over does, and you need to be and you need to pay them for all of that. Then and yeah,
I mean, you assemble your own components or work out whether that 10%
but you don't want
is
to.
worth
But you
minerals.
don't want to assemble your own components because those guys have 135 million click cost per part instead of your 150 million click cost per part, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like that you'd have to work out how much that really saves you with the 10%, right? Because like say it's okay, let's say what is it like 840 at pretty good efficiency, right? 840 parts times 15 mil saved is 12.6 bill. So that's about 10% of the overall 120 bill click.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you may, I guess you would save some minerals, but you might be eating. Yeah. So I think people should do math. Like it might flatten some of those gains.
I mean, it's 8% tax on the ISK, so but you're saving
Right.
10% on the cost.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe you have the PI, maybe you don't have the PI. So
No,
there's
you're welcome, Bradric. We actually did an advertisement for you. I told everyone
yep.
that you were the chief supplier for Titans and Supers and Pravi, and that they should go to you for all their indie needs. Folks already knew about the C70 you provide to us. So yeah.
You should be getting pings here in your D or people sliding into your DMs any moment now. So, yep. There you go. There you go, Nick. There you go on Dara's with the Knicks. Yep. Yep. So compare that to what your group is doing and versus what the top tier group is doing and see what that changes. But you still have the cost of the minerals. You still have blueprints. You still have PI on top of all of that. So yeah, and of course, obviously the reduction in parts counts. So, and that's significant, by the way. That's a significant number of parts. Someone without all that maxed out on a super versus somebody who has it maxed out on a super. The difference between the two is two carriers. The difference between the two is two carriers.
For me,
what?
I don't know if are you lagging. Okay, that is Taylor was a robot just now, right? It wasn't just me.
Really? Am I?
Yes, you're like am I?
Ah, shit! Really? Fuck.
Okay, that one was fine. Usually,
Nah.
what we do on our VoIP is we have a guy that sometimes turns into a robot and he just says balls. It works every time. I can't explain it from a network engineering standpoint, but there you go. So that was perfect, right?
Yeah,
Balls works.
Balls works.
You can't. Yeah, I don't get it, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be just something going through with Discord at the moment or whatever, and it just kind of came and went. But yeah, next time that happens, just yell at me mid sentence, interrupt me or whatever.
Works.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Was my hour up?
Now you're fixed.
Hold on, guys. Let me go put a quarter back in the bed. All right, just give me a second. Oh Lord. Is this still okay or is it not? I don't know.
Good. That was
Okay,
it, bro.
okay.
Balls came through, dude. I mean,
Right.
but Shane, can you blame it? You're listening. Dude, it's like a buff. It just fixes your fucking latency right around you.
That's amazing. That's amazing stuff. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, bunker. Yeah, the quarter for the bed. Yep. It's got to keep shaking. Okay. I don't know. We'll see how these things happen tomorrow in the next couple of weeks, how bad it impacts people or not. But I mean, the difference, I guess what I was saying, and maybe that got chopped up, was the difference between top indie efficiency and just regular whatever you think build wise on a super. The difference is two carriers. So if you just have basic skills to go build a super and you go and build it versus giving it to someone with all the top corp tech, clicks, everything else, is two carriers left over worth of parts. So
It's a lot.
It's a lot. That's a lot.
Definitely give a shit.
Yeah, it definitely gave a shit. So okay, that's enough on the. Oh, that's enough on that part of it. See, the other part of the patch notes, all the rest of the stuff in there is just whatever shit. They're nerfing the Lucent, so it's going to lose a significant amount of hit points, which translates into a lot of estimated hit points. So it's not going to be quite as tanky, but still the best facts in the game. So that's okay. It is a little bit overpowered compared to other faxes, but it's supposed to be. It's a faction.
Right.
It's not only armor; it's shield too. But you really should armor tank the fax. But
We'll say that
yeah,
armor module is disgusting.
yeah. I mean, if you're using it as a shield fax, then you deserve to die. So fuck you. I mean, whatever. It really it's an armor fax, guys. And if you're using it as a VAC, then that's different. You've done a ballsy move there. Kudos to you. But it's a
I was gonna say, if we
bunker.
have a back Lucid Moon pilot, can we get them on the podcast one week just to run us through the?
Yeah, I
Like, I
want
just want
to.
to watch.
Yeah, I want to explain the thought process there. I want to explain that. It's actually really really good to use in certain circumstances. But anyway, yeah, been triggered. We've totally been triggered. The VAC versus VAS. So yeah, things getting nerfed is hurtful. The double dumbass. Um, Lichter next. Oh God, no, thank you. Not even going to go there. So no,
Whoa, dude. Whoa.
the other thing on the patch notes was the cover mod. The cover mod for supers is I'm not going to say out. Well, I'll say it out loud. It's overpowered, but I love it. So don't change a fucking thing, Netties. But they just did. It no longer stacks on subcaps, which I can't really tell
That was dumb, man. That
how
was really dumb.
effective that is, how much that actually really worked. But yeah, I mean, you're basically making a fax or even a Nestor or a Nightmare just completely fucking unkillable if it had multiple 555 skilled cover mods overlaying on it. So now that no longer stacks. It's just going to take one of them. I don't know which one, the last one to turn on or whatever. I have no idea. It's not going to stack on it. So that that part's gone. All the rest of the cover mod stuff still works the same. They didn't say anything about taking out any stacking on capital damage. You would think it'd be the highest skill TBK, but it's whoever turned on their one the last. So like if three people turn them on and the third person has shit skills compared to the first two, it's taking the last one turned on. That's the way it works with command modules, I'm pretty sure. So like I'm like 90%. I'm probably fucking wrong, but I'm pretty sure. But that's what it does. That's what I've seen it do. It just takes the last one to turn it on. You still there, OC?
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, so
Something clicked. I heard something click.
oh, sorry. No, if we're in bug fixes though, just so we don't run past it, just to recap, right? Because there were a few
Yeah,
big
go
things you
for
brought
it.
up. So
Yeah, go for it.
one was the 30-day character limit in Corp to use Corp missions. So that's big.
Yep.
What they also have in here is that when you exhaust faction relics in a system, that system no longer drops from that current rotation of faction wars. So that's big because if you're someone who does faction war a lot or wants to, that really lowers your travel time to actually get to a faction war system. And then they also minor change related to that. When you die, depending on your rank, you lose less merits. I don't know how much of an issue that was, but I don't know how much you care about that if you're dying in marshals. But yeah. Also, reinforcing jammers now does something.
Well, it did
That's a big
before.
deal.
It did
Well,
before. This makes this line. It makes zero sense to me because you could take jammers down before and Sino over the top of it with the Sino that goes onto a vac.
I think that it might apply to more than that, or maybe they're going to actually change. We'll have to see because they may be changing the stats as well. I'm just saying I wouldn't write it off as them being late with a note. Like something may actually change tomorrow, so that may be a big deal.
God, I hope so. I hope we can drop all kinds of shit on top of people now with taking a jammer down. Like if you can legitimately take a jammer down and Sino any capitals over the top of it with a regular fucking Sino, That's legit huge, but I doubt that's what they do.
I'd be surprised if it was that, because at that point, what's the point of having a, you know what I mean? Because you just go there with scepters. Frigates do so much damage now, right? It's not hard to get one
Oh, it's
down.
two or
So
three bombers take one down. Well, it takes 20 minutes still to take a jammer down because it has
sure,
two
yeah.
stages. You've got the shield that's quick, then you got a timer on it, then you can take the armor, which is a little slower. So it's like 20 minutes regardless. Um, I don't know about removing all. Yeah, yeah. At this point with blobs, fuck it, remove all the jammers. Yeah, I don't care. I just get rid of all of them. So
To be honest, before I see that change, what I'd rather see is log offs change. I think it's so much a part of the game with the timer. You know what I mean? I'd rather see that time for where you're actually sitting in space get
well,
increased.
that's where the cloak jammer comes in because that keeps you from logging off too.
Right.
I think that just needs to be. This is going to just piss some people off, but because some people just hate the damn cloak jammers when they're running around trying to shoot shit, then they get hit with that in one system, then they get hit with it in the system next to it, and it still applies, and now they can't log off for 15 minutes. Um, maybe you can be hit with a third one and increase that time. Like you can just keep getting hit over and over. Yeah, 15 minutes. It's a bit steep. That yeah, I mean, 15
That's
minutes
a
should
long time.
15 minutes should give you enough time to sneak your way over to an NPC station and dock and not give a shit about logging off, right?
I mean, yeah, if you're talking about your interceptor, it's a long time.
Yeah, they just needle and leave anyway. Exactly. Anymore, it doesn't matter what your log off time is. They just needle and go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. The needle thing has got to be one of the funnier additions they made, because I think that they viewed it in the way of adding Nihilus, where it's like it's going to make the game smaller, easier to find combat. Meanwhile, the
Yeah,
majority of
no.
the time, I definitely see needles in my system used 90% of the time for people running away versus
That's
almost never.
exactly what it
Someone's
is.
like,
That's
"Oh,
exactly what
someone
it's used
landed
for.
on me," right? Like that's so rare.
Yeah. I think the cloak jammer thing should make it to where you can't use the needle either.
That would be that would be nice. But you talk about triggering people.
Massively triggering people.
Yeah.
Gojira, fuck that.
We're all outing ourselves now.
Yep, yep. Should have gotten rid of log off stuff when they added needles. Yeah, I mean, how though, right? So, I mean, think about what you'd have to do to eliminate the log off bullshit. Um,
After 15 minutes not logging off, it just autopilots you back to the nearest low sec. You know how fucking funny this game would be at that point? Like you're
oh,
just
God.
someone BCs and they're just slow boating back, right?
Yep, yep.
Oh God, chained. Oh man, that's like the shared dream we all have, right? It's
Proper
like
wormholes, yeah.
then, oh, wormholes are coming. We get Nihilus. Okay.
Yep,
Which, by the way, they didn't even build for us. That's just ripped off from another game they have.
yep,
So
yep.
it's not even like we got like a thing we didn't want, but it was for us, so it was like special. No, not special.
Yeah, Oprah, you're correct. That's the thing they need to change with Nihilus Space. It's not necessarily giving us different wormhole, which maybe they should give us some different real wormholes. But what if every Nihilus Space that opened up, subcap or capital otherwise, there was no restriction on a safe room or that you couldn't go through or that you couldn't go out the other end into the other system it connected to. That would be fucking killer. I would pay them. Shut up, take my money. I would pay them to
Right.
do that. I would pay them to do that. That would be fucking fantastic. And if you made those Nihilus spaces that are there, like literally another section on the map to where you could just go in there and live in there, that's wormholes. That's all they have to do. They have all those spaces. They know where they are. It's actually on the map. You used to be able to scroll way out and way down and find it. You could actually see how all those systems were initially kind of laid out. If they made those somehow interconnected with one another, if there was just and you were constantly going back to those spaces over and over again, and there was, I don't know, maybe say there's 500 of them or something, so it's a crazy number, right? So you wouldn't necessarily constantly be running on top of one another. I think that'd be bad. The farming aspect of it that you need would kind of get hurt. a little too much that way. But if it was a massive area that you'd constantly go back into, they were connected, and then of course you can go out into normal space from it. There's your wormhole space. That wouldn't be too hard for them to change. The mechanics are already all there. Like the danger stash, as they call it. You could have another gate there that maybe you have to, I don't know, maybe it just doesn't always show up, but sometimes it does by random chance, and that's what gets you into the rest of the wormhole space. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's not terribly different from how Eve works, right? With the
No,
whole like you have different classes and they roll based on mass or time, and
exactly. It's not that far off. It's not that far off, and that wouldn't be that hard of a change for them.
I went to buy station containers, man.
The
And I always think back to like when we come with big changes like this from EO, like this and
Yeah,
perms.
Ron Jeremy's danger stash. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I hear you, Bradric. Was there anything else on those patch notes you wanted to highlight? Any other little
Uh, just
bug fixes?
just the last one, they're adding more stuff. They're combining more stuff to the militia store. So just them
Oh,
committing more to something they put in the game. So
yeah, and they're gonna have shuttles back. Yeah,
you know, so
yeah, that's good. Shuttles back is good for the ancient relics trade and stuff. The scholar points. That's what I was thinking of. The
right,
scholar points.
yeah. I mean, I bring it up mainly because whether or not the change is impactful, just they made a promise about taking something away, coming back. It happened. I mean, I'm happy to shit
Yeah,
on Nettie's
yeah.
right till the cows come home, but it is good to point out when they actually come good with a promise, right? So
A year later, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Listen, for Nettie's, I will take a year. For some things, it's taken 2 years plus, so it's an improvement. Yeah.
Right, right. All right, let's do a little fun time here on the consider your suggestions. We haven't done that in a while. I don't have the soundboard stuff because I'm on mobile show tonight, but we can at least go to the official server. Yeah, I got another quarter for bed. That's the fun time. Sorry.
Oh my God.
God, rip. All right, let's go through some of the suggestions over on the official Eve Echoes server and see what. Yeah, it's time to consider your suggestion. The first one is from Boiled Water. Allow us to swap non-tradable rewards from Starbreak event for event keys. He just posted that literally 20 minutes ago. It's now
That's a good
got
one, man.
it's now got one upvote, so that's not a bad idea, I guess.
Oh, that was me, dude. That's a good idea. Let's go.
Yeah. Vindro and Pan says, give us the option to send ISK to a player instead of having to send a contract. There's already so much taxed, and now you are taking away new members using the mission system until they have been in Corp for over 30 days. It's already got 6 upvotes, 1 downvote, and that is from 2 hours ago, roughly. So already having people put in suggestions to say we can just send money to one another with nothing else in the in the contract itself, but just being able to send it with no tax, just ISK transfer. You can do that in Eve Online. You can't do that here. I don't think they're going to allow that.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. That's some
No,
hopium.
no, that's very much hopium. Rebel, who's in the audience tonight, posted, "Give back interdictor range. We lost so many great tactics when it was nerfed." So the
Oh, he's
range.
talking about the polls. Yeah, that
Yep,
was fun.
yep. That was. Let's see. I'm going to scroll through a few more. Here's one from Chad92 Saxton. Odd choice of name. Yeah, that's your game name in game. Apparently, nobody else picks that for Discord unless you're I don't know, smoking. Make purple nanocores tradable. Keep it pay to get or whatever, but at least let us trade them. 36 upvotes, no downvotes. We've said that for a long time that the nanocores need to be tradable. The purple ones. Everything in this game needs to be tradable. There shouldn't be anything that's clone bound. Period. Everything should be tradable, and that's it. Nice and easy. And there's ways that they could do that without impacting their rewards or the values of things and all of that. They could jigger that around, but oh well.
Yeah, I mean, at least the thing is, man, if you want stuff to be difficult to move, then address that. Don't tell us no. Give us a fee. right? At least then that's known about. We can deal with it, right? It doesn't completely collapse the value on stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Heartfelt says Moon Ore compression win. How about some
Oh my god.
uses for Moon Ore? I mean, I could care less about it. It's hard to move that stuff around, but I mean, why do we care to move it around? It's got almost zero use. You know, the amount of that materials that you need to make a Marzio, for instance, just the Moon Ore materials is so small, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't. Those intermediate materials,
Well,
you know,
sure, but it still has intrinsic value because it turns into PI. At the
exactly.
very least, you might have a corp that, they might listen. If you have someone that has time on their hands, they're like, look, the thing we really want is PI. At least now you have a. That's one thing I think that's like very Eve is like you offer people options that are all diminishing return. It's like, hey man, you spend your time how you want to spend your time. I think that's a very Eve thing to put in the game at least.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. There just needs to be more uses for it outside of the repoing it for PI. Well, we know that the you're going to have to do a shit ton more moon mining as it comes because that enriched uranium is going to be
That's
used
what
for
it's saying.
something, and it's only going to be able. And whatever
Yeah.
that thing is, you're going to want it, and that's going to be the only fuel you're going to be able to use is enriched uranium. So, just word to the
I'm
wise.
surprised they didn't do that early already. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah,
in EO, like the gates only use one type of fuel. I
yeah.
think it's I think it's oxygen isotopes or whatever that they use. So yeah, I
Well,
think
in
you're
the Keep Stars and EVE Online, you can only use stratium to fuel them, I believe.
yeah.
So yeah, you've got different fuel types that have to. See, that's the thing with the fuel types that I think they really. This will piss people off, but I would love this. Is the reason we have different fuels isn't just because of the gigajoule value in them, but also because of something like maybe the fuel tank size needs to be changed around a little bit, and certain ships have to use strontium. Sorry, certain ships should only use certain fuel types. Like if you're going to use a covert ops, then you have to use X type of fuel for that. If you're going to use
Oh my god,
command burst
the
modules, you have
logistics.
to use well exactly the logistics of it, right? That's the fun
Right.
part about it. Um, is the logistics side of it, and obviously it's a mobile version of a game that's they want it to be less complicated, but that's exactly what they're going to do with the enriched uranium. So I could see it coming. Something's going to come up that's like a Titan that only uses that, or Keep Stars that only uses that, or the
The
Fortizars.
Keepstar side of it wouldn't. Yeah, the Keepstar side of it that would not surprise me at all if they did
No,
something like
wouldn't
that because
surprise me at all.
that's yeah.
Yeah,
They anything that makes it so it's like you get to the point where you say, you know, man, shit, we do want three corps and one corp. If it's something like that, I think they're gonna do it.
ice mining. Yeah, that'd be great. All right, last one on the consider suggestions. This is via our very own Bradric, so I have to read it, and it's not 16 paragraphs, so it won't take the rest of the night.
But that's
Please,
only because they wouldn't allow 16 paragraphs.
correct, correct. He's got a link here too that shows go to my Reddit post to read the rest of it. Um, it says, it says please revisit bonus requirements for the ORCA. So this is our very own Bradric here talking about mining in an ORCA. Oh my god.
We
Advanced.
all lived long enough to become the villains.
Oh my god. Advanced mining foreman skill being a requirement for bonuses on the ORCA isn't ideal. Change the bonus requirement to the advanced industrial command ship command skill. The mining foreman skill is only used if you have coveters for support, or to support the coveters anyway. Completely useless outside of that specific scenario. And to be honest, a complete multi-boxer skill. It's not a necessary mainline skill.
I mean, for mobile, that's not a it's not a crazy suggestion. You know, what I mean? I could see either way, but that's not. I don't think that's too wild. You know, like honestly, like Orca, like their modules and their skill cost versus leveling up nanocores are all the same cost in this game, right? So like the cost benefit on going Orca versus Rourke, I wouldn't be mad about an Orca getting a buff, especially something like that. That's relatively minor.
No, I mean I like the setup as it is right now as being an advanced as being something that's actually giving buffs to the covers because that's really the whole idea behind the Orca, which is to be like the command ship of coveter
Right.
a coveter 2 fleet basically, ultimately. And you have enough Covetor twos and an Orca running. You're not going to keep up with a work wool that's maxed out nanocore and maxed out implant, because nothing will. That's what the work wool does. But if you don't have that because you don't want to field that, either because it's expensive or you don't have the skills or whatever, then an Orca fleet with a good number of Covetor twos is a fantastic option. And I think that's where that bonus really should lie, is that it's there to give that bonus or that buff to everything else in the fleet and not itself. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I get it. Now maybe there should be some additional trade on there that also gives a buff to the drones on the Orca, but yeah, no, I get it, Bradric. I get it. That's why you shouldn't fly an Orca solo. Like, it's not meant to be a solo ship. So, yep, it's a boosting ship mainly. Exactly. It's meant to be used in a pack. So,
I have a question. Can we actually invite Bradric to the stage? Because we need verbally on the podcast to hear Bradric explaining why miners need buffs, right?
Yeah,
like, that's
sure.
Something that
Go for it.
I'm glad I lived long enough to see it. Like,
raise your hand, Bradric, and we'll have you on real quick, and you can. And this is when 2/3 of the audience leaves. I'm kidding, Bradric. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Here, yeah, there you go. Let's get you. Let's see. I see you put your hand up. I go here, and I. Boom. There you go. You should be able to come up now. You should be able to accept it.
Oh my God! Fly aggressive on a soundboard. Yes.
There we go.
Orca or nothing like that.
Battle Orca, yeah.
You're not in the belt ready to die. There's no point in flying it.
I mean, I fly mine without a beaver.
Is that just you wanting like an extra mining hauler, or just risk aversity, or like?
No, I just haven't spent the time to build the fucking thing.
Yeah.
No, so I've actually maxed. I know this is like heresy, but I've actually maxed mine out completely, like all skills and everything. So it's completely maxed out. And the only issue is the skills for that skill for the mod for the covetors. It's required to get your bonuses on the bonus sheet for the Orca. Even if you don't use covetors, you still have to have that skill up to like advanced level 5, and it's so redundant. Like, if you don't use the covetors, you can totally use those skills somewhere else if it wasn't a requirement on the skill sheet. That's the issue.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's the whole purpose of the Orca. That's the actual intent and the purpose of the Orca, which is to be that buff for everything else in the fleet.
Yeah.
So for mining fleets,
if I had 10 cover guys and covetors, that'd be great, but we definitely don't. So it's just one of those things. It's like, well, this is kind of pointless now because I can't find 10 Orca pilots. I mean, covetor pilots to do that.
Yeah, rip bot 5.
Yeah, if you're not like a multi-boxer, it's not going to happen.
No, we got plenty of people that fly in Covetor 2 still in big. I mean, it happens every day. So
they're all like upgrading the Orcas. It's like, so when we first got into them, right? It's like, okay, I got the Orca. Whoever has a cover to come out, and it's like, well, I got an Orca too. Well, I got an Orca too. I got an Orca. It's like, well, fuck this. We don't even run the mod anymore. It's just like it got really redundant.
Well, when you do throw out, 5, 6, 7 or plus max Rorquals that all have fucking nanocores maxed out and everything else, it's like, why am I sitting here in a covetor?
That sounds like that sounds like to me is everybody is warping for half the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's all I do is I'm a hauler. I don't mine anymore. I'm just hauling the fucking rock, and I'm not keeping up. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. So, let's see. Dara says, fix the mod skill, lock the mod to an Orca, and let it affect drones. Now you get all the ships loving to mine with an Orca. That's not OPSEC for me to tell people that I'm hauling when we're mining. Please come and try to gank one of our mining fleets. You'll get fucked so hard it won't even be funny. Please, I'm literally every time we do one, I'm sitting there literally telling the guys, please, someone, where's the newts? Please have them come this way. Come on. Because otherwise, I'm just bleeding my eyes. I'm bored.
Run.
Yeah,
as soon as they land and they see all the drones just start changing, they're just like, oh shit. Yeah, they immediately get out of there. We always mind. I don't care about those dudes showing up. I wish they showed up more.
Orca's got to have missiles, medium rapids in the high slots. That's what Orca should have is medium rapids in the high slots. Then swap out those drones for the mining drones anyway for regular drones, medium drones, and you got a nice surprise in your hands.
Yep.
Not to mention what's logged off sitting in the belt.
I have field marks on my Orca.
Yeah.
Somebody effed around and found out.
Well, at least we're not talking about what was that guy's name that was in Bot 5 that was trying to do the battle humpback.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Who was that guy?
What was his name? Jarmog.
Yes, Jarmog. I took over his thing there for a while on his website for the longest time and tried to keep that running, and I just couldn't. But yeah, he had the humpback, battle humpback. He would show up to CTAs in that thing.
He was committed. He was like clearing some difficult anoms with it, and it was just taking forever. I was like, bro, I'm going to bed. This is insanity.
Yeah. So funny. You gotta have personalities like that in this game, though, right? You gotta have people like that.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's what makes it Eve.
Yeah, that's what makes it Eve. It's a lot of fun.
And he was like a good guy, man. Like he showed up and stuff, but he was just going to show up in this humpback. And it was like, what are you doing?
That's embarrassing, dude. Put your skirt down.
we literally said doctrine, and that ain't on there.
Right. Yeah, humpback combat. That's the name of the ship. Yeah. It's funny shit. So funny. All right, well, I guess that's about all I got for tonight. I don't think I have anything else. Was there something else maybe I forgot to go over? I don't think there is.
That's what we had for tonight.
Yeah,
written on doctrine in crayon.
Yeah, exactly. For the crayon eaters in the Fed. I do need to update our capital doctrine though, where I put the Workle back on it as the hauler. It's a hauling.
Not as the healer.
No. We have Lucent Moons for that, but the Workle needs to be the hauler. So, all right, that's all I got. Thanks, Bradric. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for stopping by for a E1 special after dark. I guess before I end this, I just have to mention, of all the crazy things I've seen in all my travel. You know, here in America, Portland is about as liberal a city as you can get. And I literally saw a billboard for something that you cannot see anywhere else other than Portland, Oregon. And that is a strip club that highlights the fact that all of their strippers are vegan. It's a vegan strip club. I shit you not.
I didn't see that coming. Like, I was trying to guess where you're going with this, and like, you could have given me 20 guesses. I don't think I would have nailed that one.
No, I shit you not. I laughed so damn hard when I saw that.
Okay,
I just
what's the benefit? Like, if she like is grinding on you and farts by accident, right? It's gonna smell a specific. You know what I'm saying? We have more exotic farts, like oops farts. Like, is that the?
No, it's for real.
What does that do for you?
I don't know what that does for anybody. They only serve vegan food there too, and it's like, what is the hell? What I mean, why? I don't.
Listen, I mean, what's funnier, that someone thought of it or that it's business viable?
It's business.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, somebody's either like, yo, that's my shit, or they're like, yo, nothing else is open though. So
I guess my question too is, are these strippers all lesbians because there's no meat on the menu? I mean,
oh, okay, all right.
I see what
okay.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, and is there some other strip club around here that has, like, meat only?
Oh,
no vegetables allowed. Like, I don't know. It's so
Yeah, you want to be there for the pitch, like when they're selling that idea. I want to see the faces of people.
right, right. I mean, oh God, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe. Yeah, exactly, Darius. Chippendales. That's the exact opposite
So,
of the.
I mean, I
previous
gotta ask
plan.
then, like, how was it?
I didn't go. I just saw the billboard. I didn't go. No way
Having
in
a
hell.
hard time,
No,
dude.
no, no way.
If there was no cover, like, I would check it out. Like, I'd walk in just to be like, go talk to like the bartender, like someone super base, like, yo, dude. So, like, what's up though? Like, what? Like, you guys, this is money laundering, right? Like, that's what this is. This is a shell, right?
right. Yeah.
Like,
Where's
you
the?
guys don't get business.
That's what I should do. I should film myself walking in there and ask the guy at the door, "Who's your RMT manager?"
Oh, this is how you guys are getting around contract fees, bro.
God
bro,
damn.
10 out of 10. Nice.
So smart. So smart. All right, that's all I got, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, live on YouTube. I'll broadcast it live. Watch me get the shit kicked out of me as I try to film a strip club walking in. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, Shane. I think not. Anyway, that's it for Echoes of New Eden. I'm Taylor Rick. That's OC. We had Bradric on. Bradric, thanks for coming up and talking for a few minutes with us on the Consider Your Suggestions side. So we'll see everybody this weekend. There will be a show this week. Well, I guess I'm assuming there's going to be a show this weekend. It might wind up just being Rambo and not myself and you know, OC or whoever else, and not me, because I do travel again next week. So I've got a very short weekend. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I should be around for a show. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll catch you all later. Thanks for coming.
Later, dude.
Later.